Does anything need to be said other than they lost to the White Sox? And not only lost to the White Sox, mind you, they got killed by the White Sox. Killed. Granted, some of that um is because they decided to punt this game, and rightfully so with the way this offense is. Um Part of it is because of the fact that this team can't play defense, right? Uh but towards the end, I mean, Waddell definitely did not have anything left in the tank, and that's why it got to the point that it did with the final score. You still lost to the White Sox in badly. The White Sox outscored the Mets this series, similar to the Pirates series, where the Mets won that series. Wasn't the best baseball, but they won the series. We said, all right, they took 2 out of 3, but they still got outscored in that series. So that's something that's not good at all. And long and behold, we got the same thing with the White Sox now. Um, Leave a like on your way in, subscribe, turn on your notifications. By the way, shout out to the fan that Matt and I ended up meeting at the game today. That was really cool and unreal that someone actually noticed us for our work today, and we really do appreciate that. I forgot to ask too your channel name, so whoever you are, I don't know if you're watching live or on replay, comment who you are because I'd love to know, and I appreciate you coming up to us. That was really a cool moment there, and cool to talk to you for a bit. But yeah, as for everything else, leave a like on your way and subscribe, turn on notifications, all that stuff. This offense just makes my blood boil to no end. 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Yet again, I mean, it's just not a surprise. Every single time they just do not hit with runners in scoring position. Every single time. Every time. Every time. The sad part is, right? They didn't even get a lot of hits in this game. For most of this game, they had more runs than hits because that after the Vientos home run, when it was when they ended up having 3 runs there, they had 2 hits that entire time. They had the same amount of errors as hits for most of this game. They only had 3 more hits than errors in this game. I'm not too mad, but I'm not pleased with Griffin Canning's outing today because my goodness, just could not find the zone. Just could not. And then anytime he found the zone, just getting beat. Allows just a freaking piss missile of a double to Miguel Vargas. Benintendi had that single, which made it 2-0 in the first. He gets out of that, but that error there by Brett Beatty in the second. The fielder's choice. McNeil, horrible play at second base. Talkman, double, 4-0. The Mets get a couple walks in the bottom of the second, don't score. I mean, even in the first inning, you had a couple guys on base. You had Nimmo with a single. Alonso gets hit by a pitch. Nope. Top of the third inning. Another run. Because again, Canning not finding the zone. The bottom of the third, Nimmo and Soto walk. I thought they were going to blow it in that opportunity. Vientos ends up hitting a home run, though, with 2 outs, which made it 5-3. But the Mets do not add on to the lead, of course, as Jeff McNeil first pitch swinging. The top of the fourth. The thing that I'm curious about, though, right? The thing that I'm wondering, if they were going to just say, screw it with this game anyway, why not just let Canning try to give you one more inning? Because he was at 80 pitches. Why not? And you have an off day, so he's getting the extra rest. Why not try to just get one more inning out of him? Because do you really want to tax the bullpen that much? Which Waddell, credit to him for wearing it today. honestly, he faced a lot of trouble in that fourth inning. Ended up getting out of it though. The bottom of the fourth inning, Torrens walked. Mets don't do anything else. The fifth inning, Pete Alonso, or sorry, Brett Beatty got hit by a pitch rather because Pete Alonso did earlier at one point. But nothing else. In the sixth inning, though, I was like, all right, Waddell probably should be his last inning here. And he ends up getting 2 outs. He allowed a double to Talkman, but then a triple for Benintendi, a single from Sosa, and it's 7-3 all of a sudden. And at that point, I'm like, all right, well, you might as well stick with Waddell because there is no point in dealing with this at all. And we go to the bottom of the sixth, a walk from Torrens, and that is about it. Then the seventh inning, more runs for the White Sox. I mean, they had a single from Lee, a double from Rojas. Taylor gets that sac fly, and then Taylor gets the sac fly, which made it 8-3. And then in the bottom of the seventh, Brandon Nimmo got a hit. And for those keeping track at home, I believe that was their first hit since the Mark Vientos home run, the third, right? Yeah. Which, by the way, this game took forever. This game made me. I was so annoyed, and I knew as the game was going along, it was going to reach the 3.5-hour territory. And sure enough, it did. I thought at a point maybe it was going to reach 4 hours, to be honest with you. And what did the Mets do with that leadoff single? Absolutely nothing. In the eighth inning, Benintendi had a home run. Just be done with it. They had a double from McNeil in the eighth. Nothing else. Stanek comes in, gets into a bit of trouble, gets out of it. And then the bottom of the ninth inning, typical Mets tease, as per usual. With 2 outs, Waldo brings in Nimmo after he walked. 9-4 game, which hopefully Miguel Castro's okay, by the way, because on the Soto ground out, he went to field that one, and it was a little bit awkward the way that he was touching the bag there over at first base. So hopefully he's okay. Former Met there, of course. Not that I was a big fan of him, but obviously from a human standpoint, I don't want to see the guy getting hurt. So hopefully Miguel Castro is okay from that, because that did not look good at all in terms of an ankle injury for sure there, if I had to guess. They probably already said what it was, but I'm just guessing because I haven't seen it. Either way, Beatty walks, and then Vientos ends up striking out to end the baseball game. Just the same old story, right? I mean, they score in one inning, and then they have one other inning where they, sprinkle in a run, and that's it. I'm not mad at Canning. I am not mad at Waddell. I cannot be mad at Waddell because at the end of the day, he's a guy that's supposed to be starting games down in Syracuse, and here he is needing to eat innings and mop up for the mess that was today. I'm not mad at Canning because the defense didn't help. He's been sharp all season. He was going to have a rough outing at some point. Does that mean he gets a pass? No, he should not be putting that many guys on base. He should not have that kind of outing. But I'm not mad at him because, once again, this falls on the offense. Juan Soto. The last 20 game stats. Woof. Woof. With the last 20 game stats. It is just terrible. Trying to pull them up now. Over his last 20 games, 12 for 72, 167 batting average, 315 on base for a 635 OPS, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs. I'm trying to be patient. I see the expected numbers, and I know that there are times he's getting unlucky, but I mean, these numbers are just, it's just inexcusable. It's just why? Why is it the second someone puts on these colors? Why is it this way? Lindor's not been great either. That's another problem. I mean, Brandon Nimmo was the only guy today outside of the Vientos home run. Brandon Nimmo's the only guy that was consistent at the plate today. 2 walks, 2 for 3. The only one. Accounted for 2 out of the 5 Mets hits today. And to be honest with you, I really do not care about Pete Alonso's Chris Paul RBI double and Jeff McNeil's random double. Really do not care. It's just losing to the White Sox. To the White Sox. It's one thing to lose to them. To get your ass kicked by the White Sox. Come on. And for the just for the hitting to look this piss poor throughout this entire series for the most part, it's like this should be you should be ashamed. And the sad part too is that the goalpost is being shifted, right? Because like I said after games 1 and 2, it's great that they won those games, but why are we shifting the goalpost to, well, they won, but the offense wasn't great, but they won. That's what matters. The offense needs to be better, and we all said it. This is the opportunity here, facing this type of competition, to go in there and really take advantage of a piss poor pitching staff, a piss poor team, and start to prove to yourself that, all right, this offense does have a higher ceiling than we think. But now I'm sitting here as the calendar's about to flip to June, and I'm sitting here saying, this is who they are. I mean, if they are in close games with the Rockies and the offense looks piss poor, I'm not going to sit here and say that the ceiling's any higher than what they've shown, because we are about to be 2 months in, or I mean, we already are, but like 2 months and a couple weeks in, if you want to be technical there. But if they don't show me something with the offense in this series against the Rockies, I'm going to just sit here and say this is who you are. Because the calendar's flipping to June. You're playing two teams that you should be proving. Again, it is one thing if they lost because it was like a close game and the offense looked good. They were hitting with runners in scoring position, but the pitching had an off game here and there. I'd be like, all right, at least this time it's like, okay, the offense showed me something, but the pitching unfortunately just had a blip there, which has rarely happened this season. I would be able to live with that, but I can't live with this where the offense is no showing every single game, and the pitching is asked to be perfect night in and night out, despite the fact that they have injuries to the pitching staff heavily. You lost one of your better relievers for the entire season. You lost another one of your relievers for the entire season. Not that we liked him, but still, you lost a guy that was on your opening day roster for the remainder of the season. Two of your starters hurt. And the pitching still has to be perfect. I mean, you have guys struggling too that you didn't expect to, and Budo and Nunez. The pitching is still holding up the way they are. And it is unfair that this offense every single night is asking this pitching basically to go out there and be perfect because of their inability to get it done. Just watching them get pantsed by Mike Vassell and Miguel Castro, some former Mets, especially Vassell. I mean, that was great. But again, if you can't prove to me in this Rocky series coming up, because their pitching is worse than the White Sox somehow, if they cannot prove to me that they're capable of producing some good offense and turning a corner against this Rocky squad, then how am I supposed to have faith that you're going to turn the corner at all this season at some point? Unless the hitting coach goes, or something drastically changes like we had last year at the team meeting and, Iglesias coming up and being a spark plug and Martinez for early on being a spark plug. I'm not going to be able to believe in that stuff until I see it then at that point. Because at this point, I mean, you're just becoming if team. So it's time they turn a corner. I just don't know if it's going to happen anymore. That's the problem. That is unfortunately the problem here. But I hope up to everything that I end up being wrong. Want nothing more than that. Let me answer a few comments in the chat here, and then I'm going to get out of here. Keep it a little bit short because I need to eat still. And I also apologize for going live a little bit later. I was at the game, like I mentioned earlier on. So that is why this is starting late. And yes, shout out to the fan that we met at the game. What's going on, Michael? Team needs to work on a lot of things on the field and the hitting. We got two. We get 2 wins. Should get more today. Wait, yeah, we got 2 versus the White Sox. I'm assuming you're saying, and then they should have won today. Sick of this team's inability to play with intensity, playing with the lack of killer instinct. Won't get this team past the Phillies. I mean, they're not going to get into the division series with this type of offense. You just are not going to. It's the same thing as 2022 where everyone was pointing to, okay, well, the win-loss record, that's great, but the win-loss record does not matter if you're going to play this brand of baseball. I don't care what the win-loss record is. Because ironically, they would play the Padres because of course they would, right? Does anyone realistically think someone try to look me in the eyes right now and tell me that just because they're 34 and 22, it means that it would beat the Padres in a wild card series right now? No way. No way. If the Cardinals pass them, maybe that's a team you beat, but you also struggled against them, so I can't even say that confidently. The Giants, probably not. The offense has to show way better. And I'm just tired of talking about this every single post game show. And I'm going to have to talk about it on the podcast tomorrow. And again, it's every single podcast I've had to talk about this as well. And I hate it. I don't want to have to talk about this, but here we are. And this is the thing, the Padres go down 6-0 to the Marlins, come back and win. The Mets, would they do that if the roles were reversed? No. I mean, you just saw something similar today where you're not facing the best pitching staff in the Chicago White Sox, and you can't even claw your way back into where you give Mendoza a little bit of faith. Mendoza has to wave the white flag in these games because he knows this offense isn't good enough right now. That's the sad part. I can't have this mentality. I can't. They have to be way better than this. And I'm not sitting here demanding perfection and demanding them to win every single game. Those things are unrealistic, right? But at the end of the day, I want to see good process and I want to see them turn a corner because at the end of the day, the thing that's most important to me is that they show me they're capable of it. Because if they were hitting with runners in scoring position and the team's pitching was as good as it is this season, and they lost the game here and there to even the White Sox, I would sit here and be like, all right, well, it's baseball. You're not going to win every game. It's 162. It happens. I can't do that when I'm waiting for the offense to turn the corner. And I went into this series saying This is where the offense needs to prove to me that the ceiling is higher than they have shown this season. They're not doing that. With that being said, there will be a podcast tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that, probably around 2 or 3. You guys will, of course, find that out tomorrow. But thank you everyone for tuning in and watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live here on Met Central. I'll see you guys in the next one.